This week on The Gadget Show.
Otis and I see whether gadgets are so good at recreating reality, I am absolutely gobsmacked that we can't tell the difference between tech and the real thing.
Is it real or not?
John digs out his pumps and gets himself all sweaty with Matt Willis. Testing the latest workout games.
Polly heads to the States to try out one of the most incredible forms of transport you've ever seen.
God, that is neat.
And I reveal my favourite websites of the moment. Hello and welcome to The Gadget Show.
We really have got some fascinating stuff for you this week. Somewhat of an experiment in which we're trying to see if technology has got to the point where it's emulating real life so well that it's almost impossible to tell the difference. And the results that we come up with, I reckon, this is me, by the way, I am real, are fascinating.
Just checking.
There's no denying that over the last decade, gadgets have gotten better, faster, smarter. But if there's one goal that's preoccupied gadget designers more than any other, it's trying to recreate reality.
But how far have we come? Can gadgets really fool us into thinking we're experiencing real life, when in actual fact, we're only interacting with tech?
Well, to find out, we embarked on a series of tests, starting with sound. And the perfect person to help us with our tests was Mr. John Bentley.
Hi, John.
Now, our task is to reproduce as clearly as we can in this theatre a recording of a vocal performance and then distinguish it from a real human performance.
Jason and Otis would be blindfolded and played two pieces of music in this large theatre. One recorded using high-end audio tech and one live.
Meet our special guest.
Oh.
And for the performance, I'd recruited Joe McElderry, the Geordie's voice of an angel and X Factor winner who took his debut single, The Climb, to the top of the charts. 2 years later, he struck gold again by winning Pop Star to Opera Star. He was the perfect recording artist to push our audio tech to the limit.
As our challenge required not only to play back the sound but record it too, we had to make sure we did so in the highest possible quality.
Right, to make our recording, we've got this studio mic here from SE Electronics. It's the Z3300A, and we're connecting it to this. It's a solid-state recorder from Zoom. It's the H4N. It's a very sexy.
I do love the way those things look.
We also hooked up a pop shield and a portable reflection shield to give us optimum vocal clarity and perfect acoustic sound.
What do you think? Is it looking professional?
Good, I don't normally get one of these, so I feel quite privileged.
With all the recording tech set up, we made ourselves scarce while Joe sang an all-time classic for Friends of Dorothy, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Birds fly over the rainbow, why then, oh, why can't I?
To play back Joe's recording to Otis and Jason, I'd chosen a pair of Bowers & Wilkins Diamond 800 speakers. The tweeters on these speakers are made with a layer of synthetic diamond, which means that the dome remains rigid even at very high frequencies, giving perfect clarity and no distortion. To make sure the theatre was set up correctly, I'd recruited former opera singer and all-round audio wizard John Oakman to give me a hand. The speakers needed to be angled correctly to direct the sound to the area where Jason and Otis would be sitting.
This high-frequency unit, we call the tweeter, directs its sound beam in a very, very specific pattern. And so therefore, I pointed it towards seat 7, which I'm hoping will give us our most specific sound.
So, with everything set at the optimum positions, all that was needed was a reference level from Joe, which I recorded on a mini sound level meter.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind.
This would capture the precise volume at which Joe was singing. Then I could set the speakers to play back his recorded track at the exact same levels.
Excellent, thank you very much, Joe.
The stage was set. Otis and I were led to our seats. It was crunch time.
We were blindfolded and ready to listen to both the live and recorded versions of Joe's singing. But would we be able to tell the difference?
Blindfolds on, please.
Good luck, Joe. Looking forward to it, my man.
First up, it was the recording of Joe, played through the B&W Diamond 800s.
Birds fly over the rainbow, why then, oh, why can't I?
Blindfolds off, please. That was rendition number 1. What do you think? was really good, first of all.
Man, I'm like a teenage girl and I want you.
Really, really good.
It could have been you, it could have been the speakers.
When I first started hearing the singing, I thought, yeah, that sounds metallic, it's got to be the speakers. But then, as I listened more and more, it sounded really real.
Well, blindfold's back on then.
Okay.
And then it was time for the real deal. Joe McElderry live on stage.
Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly.
Just amazing. Had I not had the opportunity to listen to Joe live and Joe recorded, I would not be able to... If you told me this is him singing live, I would have gone with it.
Yeah.
But I'm able to contrast the two.
Yeah.
And our ears are pretty adept at hearing reality, right?
Yeah, there's a warmth that came from the performance, I believe, was Joe's, that you just I couldn't hear or feel through the speakers.
So, had the chaps figured it out?
OK, I believe that the real Joe sang second.
I concur. I believe Joe sang second.
Which is correct.
Fascinating stuff.
yeah.
Is it fair to say, do you think, that if you'd only heard this, that you would have been fooled into thinking that that was Joe McElderry singing?
Yeah, if someone had told me that, come and listen to Joe McElderry,
Yeah.
I'd have said, why are you putting a blindfold on me? But, yeah, I found it very, very difficult.
I mean, aside from the superb quality of the reproduction equipment, I think the most heartening thing is that this recorder, which is so affordable, can produce such good quality results.
Yeah, I mean, Joe is a star, but the Zoom is the other star of this first part of the challenge because, this is affordable technology and you could use this in a home studio environment, interviewing, podcasts.
Yes, for
I mean,
professional
fantastic.
finish, yeah.
And the great
absolutely.
thing is there are more stars to come in this challenge because there are 2 more tests, one with artificial intelligence and one with visual, with fascinating results.
Welcome back. I want to talk to you about electronic workout gadgets. It's now been 5 years since Nintendo created the Wii and revolutionised the way people play sport and do exercise in front of their tellies. Microsoft and Sony were left gasping by the Wii's incredible popularity. And it wasn't until last year that they came up with their own proper alternatives in the shape of the PlayStation Move and Kinect. But how do they compare when it comes to getting sweaty in your living room? Well, to find out, I retrieved my plimsolls from the back of the wardrobe, dusted them down, and set about some serious testing. There's no doubt that games consoles have given us some inexpensive and very novel ways of keeping fit at home. But as I'm not the most self-motivated home fitness fanatic, I'm going to need a pace man. Cue Matt Willis, rock star, celebrity jungle survivor, triathlete and avid gamer. If anyone knows about staying in shape while leading a busy lifestyle, it's him. Do you think that a console could stand any chance of replacing a real fitness regime?
No, I very much doubt it. I'm sceptical, but I still want to give it a go, you know.
We decided to test the latest fitness products from each of the 3 main games consoles, the Wii, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. All 3 come with motion-sensitive add-ons, so we were looking for something a bit more sophisticated than the usual leg up.
Oh, no, sorry, I was saying.
And to assess our performance, we'd also kitted ourselves out with the Forerunner Fitness Watch, so we could see just how good a workout we were getting.
Ooh. Oh, there we are. Look, it comes apart anyway.
First up, it was the Xbox Kinect. The Xbox 360 has never really been renowned for its fitness titles, but with the launch of Kinect last year, the body tracking technology offered a whole new dimension to fitness gaming.
So this is Your Shape Fitness Evolve 2012 from Xbox Kinect.
The game continues on from the first Fitness Evolve title and uses the Kinect sensor to track your whole body while you're working out.
I think we're ready for this, John. How do you feel?
Not in the least bit ready.
I don't know if I'm hitting them or not. I can't tell.
I'm not quite sure what I'm doing exactly, but...
The game has a wide variety of good exercises, including military training and skipping, and it keeps track of all the calories you burn. And we were feeling the workout right from the start.
What, 2,590 points? It's brilliant.
And after 30 minutes, the calorie counter on the game seemed to match that on the watch and showed our heart rates had stayed well over 100 beats a minute.
That was really, really hard.
You did seem really, really hard. I'm very impressed with your
I'm
ability.
really impressed with that.
So, Your Shape had certainly got our heart rates up. Next, the Nintendo Wii.
goes on like this.
Wiimote holder.
The Wii launched the gaming fitness revolution with Wii Fit in 2008, and its latest addition is Zumba Fitness.
I have high hopes with this one because it involves dancing, which you would, I presume, be excellent at with your
Of course.
background in music.
I'm a phenomenal dancer.
Zumba Fitness 2 takes the dance craze into your living room. You use the supplied belt to slot your Wiimote inside, and then it tracks your movements to match the on-screen avatars. Obviously some more successfully than others. The aim is to learn and perfect 9 different dance styles, such as reggaeton, merengue, salsa, cumbia, and mambo.
Zumba!
Research suggests that 60 minutes of Zumba can burn up to 400 calories, but it's fair to say that neither I nor Matt were really feeling it.
This is really hard.
This is really
should have
requires a lot of
tried it easy.
coordination.
Yeah.
After a solid half hour of impossible dance moves,
You got a hot? Zumba!
we took a well-deserved break to measure the Wii's performance.
There's a few shapes you pulled there which were
When you say-
breathtaking.
But that's a half an hour down.
Yeah, like half an hour, 35 calories. If you were on something else, you'd burn a lot more, you know?
So not so good from the pure fitness point of view.
No.
No.
Finally, the PlayStation, using the PlayStation Eye and Move controller. The Move controller allows you to play a good collection of movement games like SingStar Dance and UFC Trainer. But the one that got our sweat on was this, Move Fitness.
Yes! Got it now.
This game has around 25 exercises which use the motion controller to give you a full body workout. But we only really seem to feel it in our arms. Thanks to the combination of the controller and the camera, it offers pinpoint accuracy, which should track your movements in far greater detail than the Wii or Kinect. After another 30 minutes, we paused the game and took our readings.
My heart rate raised, so it is doing its job, you know, but it's
doing something.
Yeah, it's doing something.
But I'm not sure it's actually reflecting your movements that well.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So, after an afternoon's exertion, it was time for the G ratings. And it's 3 Gs for Zumba Fitness 2. Though it's a great game for aspiring dancers, both Matt and I felt it was a bit lacking for people looking for serious fitness results. And it's also 3 Gs for Move Fitness with the Move controller. It's great for tracking your arm movements, but it didn't get our hearts pumping enough for a full body workout. And it's 5 Gs for Your Shape Fitness Evolve 2012, with a vast array of fitness games to choose from combined with the impressive tracking abilities of Kinect. It delivers a unique and unparalleled fitness experience.
Right then, it's that time of the year where we want to know what's your gadget of 2011. We've compiled a list of the 10 gadgets that we think have been the most innovative, jaw-dropping, inspiring tech and have made the biggest impact on us this year. But it's up to you to decide which is the best. Log on to channel5.com/Gadget Show to cast your vote and we'll announce the winner right here on the Gadget Show in our Best of Show at the end of the series.
OK, time now for a top 5 and a flipping useful one to boot, I reckon. I'm talking websites. There are millions out there and loads of them are rubbish, but some of them are properly good. So here are 5 that I think fall into the properly good category.
The average internet surfer spends nearly a whole day a month browsing websites, some pointless, some fun, and some just a little bit useful.
So here's 5 that come with my seal of approval.
At number 5, it's Recipify.com.
Recipify is a free cookery website where you can upload your top recipes and share them with other food lovers from all over the world.
Just log in using your Facebook, Twitter or Google account and you can start sharing your signature dishes.
Crab cakes.
It couldn't be easier. Now, what can I cook?
Creamy prawn, bacon and broccoli pasta by Deb Williams. Right, Deb, I'm going to give that a go. Heat the oil in a frying pan over a heat. That smells good. She said it should take 20 minutes altogether, and it has taken 20 minutes, so that's good. And it's ready to eat. Hungry?
Once you've cooked up your creation, you can leave a comment.
It's a winner. Thank you, Recipify.
And at number 4, something for the more forgetful amongst us. Look mobileon.net on Android. A quarter of all adults in the UK now own smartphones. But what do you do when you leave the house in a rush and you've forgotten your phone? Nightmare! But instead of having to rush back and make a special journey to collect your precious device, you can now access all your text messages and missed calls on lookmobileon.net. If you own an Android phone, just install the Look Mobile On app, and then you can log into the site and access all of those missed calls or texts. You can even reply and write new messages to your contacts. So you need never be separated from your smartphone ever again. Right, I'm going to check my messages. Oh, great. I haven't got any. At number 3, it's a site for the lazy typists amongst you. I'm always in a hurry trying to send emails, and sometimes they're quite long, but I've never, ever been a fan of abbreviations until I discovered the very clever website textpanda.com. By simply dragging the Text Panda button from the homepage onto your bookmarks toolbar, you can use it with web-based email. Type in your abbreviations and what you want them to mean, and TextPanda will remember. After you've done that, you just click on the panda, and then you can start writing your text speak in your email, and the little panda will convert it all to the Queen's English. OMG, lol, BFF, I hate it all. However, it's all acceptable on TextPanda. At number 2, it's foddy.net. A website with a variety of infuriatingly addictive games. Come on. Oh! And my favourite is Quap. It's a frustratingly addictive running game. You use the keys Q, W, O and P to control your slippery runner's legs so that he moves along the track. This is so stupid. Without falling over. It's really, really hard, but it's hilarious. It's not the most sophisticated of games, but I love it. And at number 1, it's scanme.com, a website that allows you to create your own individual QR or quick response code. These are pimped-up barcodes that are starting to pop up everywhere. Scan one of these codes with a smartphone and a wealth of information is delivered within seconds, from train timetables to games trailers. And the best thing is you can now make your own QR code using scanme.com with your Facebook login details, so you can reveal as little or as much information as you want. You can print your code to anywhere: mugs, posters, even a T-shirt. Ladies?
Susie Perry. Is that you, is it?
You knew it was me, didn't you?
No. Oh.
Welcome back. Now, on the Gadget Show, we've tested all manner of personal transport, from huge ride-on mechanical dogs to boats that swim like dolphins. Woo! We've tested stuff on water, on land, and in the sky. But never before have we found something that works on all three. Rock River, just north of Chicago, in the US of A. Where I was hoping to catch a glimpse of something just a little bit unusual. And there it was, the machine I'd come 4,000 miles to see, the HoverWing.
That is just far too cool for words. God, that is neat.
After reading all about it and watching videos on YouTube, I had to find out more. So I'd flown across the Atlantic to meet up with Bill Zhang, nephew to the creator of the HoverWing and the first man to ever fly one.
Kind of felt like being a military test pilot. You know, I can imagine what they go through, the excitement and the adrenaline that they have, and we went through all of those emotions. It was awesome.
As its name suggests, the HoverWing is essentially a hovercraft with wings.
This machine, when it gets up to 50 miles per hour, you pull back on the joystick and it'll lift off, and it'll fly about 4 feet above the water.
It can fly up to 20 feet off the ground and travel at speeds of up to 70 miles an hour. This one even has a stereo.
You have to be able to have some fun.
I love that.
Needless to say, I was more than keen to hitch a ride, but I wasn't just going in any HoverWing. I was going in this one. Belonging to the US military, this is the fastest, most powerful HoverWing ever built.
It sounds like it's going to be pretty mean.
Now, these vehicles need a full 2 weeks of training to pilot, so Bill himself was going to take me for a spin up the lake. As I settled myself into the passenger seat and the roar of the engine exploded, the reality of what I was about to experience dawned on me. And if the vibration, noise and nerves weren't enough to scare the pants off me, I then got some alarming news.
So, Bill, I kind of guess you must have some kind of pilot's license or a driver's license or a certain amount of hours you have to put in to be able to drive something like this?
I don't have a pilot's license. There's actually no license required to fly a HoverWing.
Well, at least I was wearing a seatbelt. So I settled back as the 250 horsepower Chevrolet V8 engine powered up.
You can really feel the power of that supercharged Chevy engine. It has got such a roar.
And before I knew it, we were up, and away.
Woohoo! Wow!
Just like a traditional hovercraft, the engine's power is used to drive a fan at the front to provide lift, and to a rear-mounted propeller to drive it along. But how does it actually manage to fly? That's down to those short, stubby wings and something called ground effect.
And the great thing is you can feel when you're in the air, when you're airborne.
Basically, when an aircraft gets very close to the ground, it ends up riding on a cushion of air that's squeezed between the wings and the ground. It's this effect that the HoverWing makes use of, and the reason it doesn't need long wings like a conventional aircraft.
You can hardly tell that you're going from air to water. When it lands, how smooth the transition is.
But the higher you go, the weaker the ground effect becomes, which prevents it soaring off into the skies, which was probably a good thing. You can buy a HoverWing for around $25,000. This particular one, however, costs nearer to $90,000. But of course, it's not for sale.
This machine literally feels like it will chew you up and spit you out. It is an absolute beast.
Wow.
Yeah, it looked like something out of a James Bond film.
It was seriously unbelievable.
I still can't get over that moment when it first appeared.
Because it got so much hype.
It was like something from a sort of military stealth movie. It was really cool.
It felt quite exhilarating. You didn't feel anything, especially the seamless landing.
Yeah.
I bet.
You couldn't even feel the transition from air to water.
Extremely jealous. That's all I'm gonna
Extraordinary
say.
stuff. Me too.
Right, time for the second of the Gadget experiments that we're carrying out this week to try and find out how close tech has come to emulating real life.
Yeah, we began with sound and the lovely voice of Joe McElderry, who sounded fantastic in real life, but also sounded incredibly good and realistic through a high-level speaker and sound system.
That's right. It wasn't something we were able to discern straight away. The technology was that good.
Absolutely.
It called into question our ability to tell the difference between the two.
Completely, but now we're cranking up the difficulty. We're using technology that attempts to emulate the human brain. We're talking artificial intelligence.
Now, I knew this test would be trickier than it sounded.
Because while our computers are brimming with examples of artificial intelligence, do any of them have those essential human traits?
Search engines like Google and Wolfram Alpha that make web searching more reliable, and email filters that sift all that spam into your junk mail folder all use a form of artificial intelligence. And we are even closer than ever to communicating with our tech on a regular basis, with the introduction of technologies such as Siri on the iPhone 4S and voice search on the Android platform.
But these are unmistakably computers, and I want to fool Jason and Otis into thinking that they're communicating with a real person. I need to concentrate on that most basic of human abilities, chin-wagging.
And that's where this comes in. An artificial intelligence computer named Cleverbot, created by UK computer genius Rollo Carpenter, which stunned the world with a stellar performance on the Turing test, an intelligence test of sorts for chatbots or conversational robots.
The Cleverbot's job is to imitate humans, so it's got to be as human-like as possible. It can't do that by, in reality, thinking. It can do it by recording everything everyone said and using context in a way that isn't really very human-like in its thought process, but nevertheless provides some very interesting results.
Cleverbot has tricked impressive numbers of people into thinking it was a real person, but would Jason and Otis be fooled?
Now, this will be fun, because behind this screen are two people. One's a real person, one is a computer. Wow. You're going to have a 5-minute conversation with each, and at the end of which, you've got to decide which is which.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
I'll leave you to it.
I've got to say something before we start. We've had AI on the show before.
Yeah.
It's not that convincing.
I'm going to put myself right out there. I'm going to say this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
It was fair to say we were pretty confident.
Windows, man.
It was time for the first chat, but would 5 minutes be enough for them to tell if they were communicating with a computer or a human?
I think it should be something a little bit cheeky.
Cheeky, naughty, I think so that we can see if the human or computer at the other end is embarrassed or otherwise.
Yeah.
Surely if this was a computer, it wouldn't know about kissing, let alone the finer points of dating.
There's a lot of thought going on here. I think so. That's an interesting answer.
That's actually thrown. That's thrown me.
So that's thrown me as well. It's not a yes or a no.
A very matter-of-fact response.
That's a good question for us. Again, that could be a computer.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. I thought this was a human, but I was having serious doubts. This is less definitive than I would have thought. Well, look how much we're having to think about our questions.
There was only one way to nail this before the time ran out. A lateral thinking question.
Let's try and stimulate some complex answer.
I pose the old nonsense riddle. A man sees albatross soup for sale, tries it and kills himself. Why? That would surely trip up any computer posing as a human.
Dude, I don't even think a human can answer this question.
Precisely. God, that's a very, very, very clever answer.
It is a very
Isn't
clever,
it?
It is a very clever
And
answer.
very quickly.
It's an answer that could well have come from either.
That final answer confounded us. At this point, we really were unsure of who or what we were talking to.
But our 5 minutes was up, and it was time for the second chat. We were hoping that this time we could crack it and work out if we were talking to a human or a computer program.
We went in with a basic introduction.
That seemed to pose no problem.
So we decided to cause some confusion by using an open-ended statement.
I reckon this could tell us instantly whether it's a machine or not.
Yeah.
Instantly. Haha, there are letters. Computer says, haha, there are letters in the formulas.
No human being I've ever met or seen would respond like that.
With the second question, we were convinced we'd nailed it.
Time for something a little more abstract. Surely that would confirm our suspicions that this was in fact a computer program.
Fashionable. That's a lovely, lovely human thing to say.
Yeah.
That's a great response. I'm taking the kids. That's clever, isn't it? Clever.
You think?
This sarcastic response really threw me. Maybe it was a human being after all.
Whereas I wasn't convinced that this could be anything but a computer.
But there was no more time for speculation. Time was up.
So, do you have a result
John.
of deliberations?
Yeah, we do. I think we're in agreement.
Good.
But we still had to debate the answer.
What we believe to be the human could feel computer-like.
Yes.
Yeah? The computer could feel human.
And the result of your thoughts is?
Conversation number one is?
Human.
Yeah. Conversation number two, therefore?
Computer.
Correct.
So really, it was those curveball questions that allowed you to divine the AI software, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the AI was impressive.
Yes.
Very impressive, actually. In fact, it's very exciting to think that we're here at the moment in history when, this technology is starting to become real. But yes, certain types of questions did reveal it to us.
Yeah.
But what was interesting was the fact that when it was John, that also confused you.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I was confused. I mean, that conversation called into question my ability to definitively tell that it was a computer.
It was the speed of his answers and the sort of confidence of them, if you like. We asked one very complex philosophical question and he answered it instantly with a very logical answer.
Yes.
That is John Bentley for you, though.
Exactly. and the point being that I think we'd expect a human to think about it for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's old Johnny boy, the old brain box, you see.
Good stuff.
Well, we've still possibly the best test yet to come.
Yes. Has HD and 3D technology become so sophisticated that you can think you're looking at reality?
Mm-hmm. See you in a minute.
It's still me.
Welcome back. Now, all this week, Jason and Otis have been running a series of really interesting tests to see just how well technology can mimic reality.
And so far, tech is losing, which doesn't fill us with pride because we're massive fans of tech. Our first test was to compare a recording of Joe McElderry singing a song to him actually performing it live for us, and we were able to guess which was which.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we tested whether artificial intelligence, or AI, could fool us into thinking that we were conversing with an actual human being. Unfortunately, we were clearly talking to a computer.
OK, so now we're on to the final test, and we're talking visual.
After 2 challenges and 2 correct guesses, we were in the lead. But it's fair to say that so far the tech was holding its own. It hadn't been the walk in the park we were expecting.
But my final plan was a simple one. I was going to set up 3 visually rich scenes, which Jason and Otis would have to watch. One would be reality, the others would be recordings, in 2D and 3D. And I had the perfect filming subject, Robo Jace, the Gadget show's own AI robot. He's almost as real as the real thing, but is he real enough? By using a candelabra to add a bit of depth and a rotating turntable for movement, the scenes could be filmed under identical lighting conditions.
But just as with our sound test earlier, the devil is in the detail. So I've recruited the help of Richard from On-Site here, who's an expert in 3D and high-definition filming.
The 3D video of Robo Jace was going to be filmed on a state-of-the-art Sony professional 3D camera, similar to one that had delivered outstanding results on one of my previous tests.
To get the best out of 3D, obviously you want the images not to be painful to watch. If they're too close, they become rather painful to watch. If they're too far away, they tend to look 2D.
Basically, I've got to make sure there's nothing too close to the camera, nothing too far away, and keep the scene fairly simple.
And I chose the latest Sony 3D projector to display the image. It should achieve high levels of contrast, accurate colours, and clear blacks and whites. For our 2D image, there was only one choice, the Red Epic camera. Used on movies like Spider-Man and The Hobbit, it shoots in more than 5 times the resolution of normal high def, giving ultra-detailed pictures. And the 2D footage will be displayed through a state-of-the-art high-def projector. Both images were then lined up and projected onto the back of screens identical to the one behind Robo Jace. By placing blacked-out flats with a cut-out viewing area in front of them, I hoped I'd created the perfect illusion. And then it was time. The tech had one final chance to prove its worth.
Behind these screens are 3 identical scenes. One is real life, the other 2 are the same scene represented by 2 state-of-the-art forms of visual technology.
God, I'm so excited! So that we weren't biased by the fact that one image required 3D glasses, we were asked to view everything through glasses of some sort.
Otis would be first to view in booth number 1.
Good luck, man. I'm here if you need me, yeah?
Yeah.
A 2D film of Robo Jace using the high-end HD projector.
Open your eyes.
I don't know what I'm looking at. I couldn't sit here right now and tell you one way or another whether what I'm looking at is is real or not. Okay, I'm entitled to change my mind, but my gut is that it's real.
Is it real?
Yeah, that's just for now.
Brilliant! The 2D had tricked him into thinking it was real. Time for Jason's viewing.
Open your eyes.
Just an ugly-ass guy. It's very hard. I think that's either projected or a TV screen of some sort.
Right.
Thank you.
Let's move on to number 2.
And in booth number 2 was our 3D image, filmed using the Sony.
Oh, man. It's not any easier! On Jason's shirt, I'm not picking out the detail of the pattern so much. Yeah, this is definitely 3D.
Otis clocked the 3D immediately, but how would Jason fare?
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, but I'm tempted to close one eye because that would help me to decide whether my feelings that this is 3D are correct or not. It's almost imperceptible, but it's slightly there.
They both successfully deduced that booth 2 contained the 3D footage, but it was very close.
I am absolutely gobsmacked at how close this is and how hard it is to call, genuinely.
How would they react to the final booth? Stone cold reality, Robo-Jace in all his glory.
Opening eyes now. It needed this for me to be able to say how I felt about the other two. That is real.
Otis seemed convinced, but was he really sure?
I've never had more doubt in a statement I've just said. I'm starting to fuzz around the edges.
Great! Otis was questioning reality. Would Jason be similarly outfoxed?
Put it this way, if I could get that in my front room as a means of watching movies, that quality of picture, I couldn't put a price on it. It's that good.
After 3 viewings apiece, could we distinguish between tech and real life and successfully score a hat-trick for this week's challenge?
Well, I mean...
It's not instant, is it?
No, it's so hard to call. Let's take a run at this, starting with this one.
That's real. That's a real scene there, as far as I'm concerned.
I concur. I think that's reality.
And you are absolutely right. Yeah. Number 3, the third one you looked at, is definitely reality.
We've done it! 3-0.
Not too shabby.
Oh, it seems to me as though the boundaries between reality and technology are getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, they are blurring more than they did a handful of years ago.
And it seemed like some of the tests are actually quite tricky.
Yes, there are some qualifications. I mean, you don't normally look at reality through a sort of black frame. I mean, you are sort of surrounded by it. So, I mean, it'd be a bigger job for technology to try and simulate all that.
Yeah, I agree. But having been on these kinds of tests since the very beginning, in the early days of the Gadget show, I have to say definitively that it's much harder to call now.
I mean, when we started, it was almost laugtably easy.
Yeah, I thought the TVs would be really, really simple, but they weren't.
Interesting.
Or the projectors, or reality.
Sorry, blurring. That's it. That's all we've got time for.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.